site after Philippi was Thessalonica, and Thessalonica is about 100 miles away from Philippi. You see it on the map there. Now Paul's traveling, and his group is traveling completely overland. It's the spring of AD 50 when he gets to Thessalonica, and Thessalonica was the largest city in the region. It also was the capital city of this region, and estimates are that Thessalonica was at about 200,000 in population when Paul got there. So we're talking about a very large city for the day. He came to Thessalonica from Philippi, and this is recorded in Acts 17, and it says there he preached 3 weeks in the synagogue, 3 successive weeks, preaching from the Old Testament about how Jesus fulfills the prophecy of the Messiah, trying to convince them. Now that doesn't mean that he was only in Thessalonica for 3 weeks, because it was usually his pattern to start in the synagogue, of course, and then move into the public areas, the agora, in the marketplace, where other speakers would speak on the corner. So he was kind of like a street preacher in that regard, gathering a crowd and preaching. But over time, the Jews in Thessalonica, seeing that he was getting a crowd and getting a bit of a following, complained about him. And in chapter 17 of Acts, verses 6 through 8, it says, these men, talking about the group with Paul, these men who have caused trouble all over the world have now come here, and Jason has welcomed them into his house. He was a native there. They are all defying Caesar's decrees, saying that there is another king, someone called Jesus. When they heard this, the crowd and the city officials were thrown into turmoil, and then they made Jason and the others post bond and let them go. However, Paul and Silas were not arrested in that situation. They went to Jason's house to get them, and they were gone. So they brought Jason into this legal situation. And it's interesting. That night, they hustle the group out of Thessalonica, and no violence took place. Jason had to pay bail for no apparent reason other than to get himself free, but he was free. Thessalonica today is the city of Thessaloniki. It is an active city, and it is built on top of the ruins. So for the most part, there's not a whole lot of ruins in Thessalonica, and when they discover them, it's because they're building something. This location here is the marketplace, or the agora from old Thessalonica, discovered there, and you're looking at the tops of the shop constructions, and the only reason they found it is because it was a bus station, and they destroyed the bus station, and they were digging to build a new bus station, and they hit all these ruins. So that's kind of what happens in these kind of situations. Here's another picture of right in the center of town. There's a installation of some ruins, and so they're constantly discovering things. And it's usually the rules in these countries are, if you're building something and you hit ancient construction, you have to pause and let the archaeologists come and find out what it is, and so forth and so on. So that's what's happening little by little in Thessalonica. There's an interesting note in terms of Luke's report about their time in Thessalonica, and it really has to do with the words, and the city officials were thrown into turmoil. Luke, in that verse, that's chapter 17, verse 8. When Luke wrote that, he used the word politarch for city officials, politarch. And for a long time, for centuries, this was used as a criticism of the Bible, because archaeologists and historians could not find in the secular Greek manuscripts any word equivalent to politarch. And so it was kind of assumed that Luke got the word wrong, wasn't quite the historian that we think he is. And then, interestingly enough, I wrote down the date, 1835, archaeologists found an arch that spanned the Via Ignatia, and it was in reference to the politarch who helped build this portion of it. And since that time, we've found 16 engravings and inscriptions which use that term. So it turns out that Luke was right after all. even though we faced a lot of criticism downstream for the use of that term. We have a quick video about Thessalonica.